In times of lockdown, our dreams will be tested, as the story of Joseph reveals. Even though he received God-given dreams, the Lord providentially used a prolonged period of lockdown to prepare Joseph to fulfill the dreams. The lockdown was instrumental in shaping Joseph for what God had planned for him. Joseph's rejection by his jealous brothers at age 17 and his subsequent sale as a slave to Midianite traders triggered a sequence of painful and unenviable circumstances in his life. When he was appointed Prime Minister of Egypt, 13 years had lapsed since his brother's betrayal. During this intervening period, Joseph's dreams faced three significant tests. Firstly, the test of integrity. A first test that Joseph endured, which had far-reaching consequences, was in the area of Joseph's sexual integrity and purity. Captain Potiphar's wife was sexually attracted to and lusted after Joseph. However, Joseph in Genesis 39 verse 10 says, refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. Then in verse 11 it records that one day he went into the house to attend to his duties and none of the household servants was inside. She caught him by the cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. Joseph exhibited the only way a Christian should respond to sexual temptation. He resisted the temptation immediately. He refused to even be in the same vicinity as the source of temptation, and he ran away. Potentially, no one would have known of the secret sexual liaison, but Joseph understood that God would have known. Therefore, he would not violate his integrity. If he did, he may have forfeited the dream that God had given him. Likewise, there will be tests of our integrity in many different areas, but we, like Joseph, must live lives of integrity publicly and privately if our dreams are ever to become a reality. Number two, the test of delay. Joseph's dreams were tested by long delay. God sovereignly used the 13 years of delay to shape and mold Joseph's character and capacity. Our God-given dreams will also be tested by delay. And the period between receiving the dream to when it is fulfilled is a significant time in which the Lord works in us to prepare us for what He wants to do through us. And to God, His work in us is infinitely more important than what He does through us. Please don't be frustrated or discouraged by the delay. I once heard a preacher say, God's delays are not His denials. It is part of the process. God-given dreams will always have a divine time frame, and in His time, it will come to pass. And number three, the test of the heart. The long period of lockdown had obviously tested Joseph's heart. It could have been very understandable for Joseph to be bitter about what had happened to him. He'd been rejected by his brothers, he'd been falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, he'd been forgotten by Pharaoh's cupbearer. But no, he wasn't bitter. The result of the lockdown produced the complete opposite in Joseph. During the famine that Joseph had predicted, Joseph's brothers had been sent to Egypt by Jacob to get grain for their diminished stocks and flocks. Unbeknownst to them, they actually appeared before Joseph to request grain. Some time elapsed before Joseph revealed his identity as their forgotten and forsaken brother. But after Jacob's death, the brothers feared retribution for what they had done to Joseph. Joseph, however, displayed unusual kindness and grace to his brothers. Joseph understood that the providential hand of God had orchestrated his journey to and elevation in Egypt. He reassured them by saying, "Don't be afraid of me. Am I God that I can punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so I could save the lives of many people. No, don't be afraid. I will continue to take care of you and your children." From Joseph, we learn many lessons. Though others may hurt us, there is no defense for us being vengeful to them. As difficult as it is, we must treat them as God treats us, with undeserved forgiveness and a lot of grace. No matter what has been done to us or said about us, we need to keep our heart free from bitterness. And perhaps God is using this lockdown to deal with things in our hearts toward others. Joseph also recognized that the Lord had redeemed an act done with an evil intent to achieve a divine purpose. For he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good." And may we realize that some experiences we go through have a far greater significance in shaping our lives than we may realize at the time. God is using this lockdown for good. And finally, God has given every one of us a dream. And in times like our present lockdown, our dreams will be tested in many ways, like Joseph. But the Lord will providentially use this time to do something in us, to shape our future in Him. He is preparing us for His purposes.